1 year ago today, I made the biggest decision of my entire life. I graduated from Indiana University, got a degree in sport marketing and management, was in the Kelley School of Business for 3 years, and decided to get my real estate license and become an entrepreneur. I saved up $10,000 and I moved to a new city that I'd never lived in before. It was about 80 to 90 miles away from my hometown, Brown County, Indiana. I moved to Westfield, Hamilton County, which is the wealthiest area in Indiana and one of the richest areas in the entire Midwest, including Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, I believe Minnesota too, yeah. I made a huge decision, and I was wearing this exact same shirt a year ago. I was committed to making a video every single day documenting my journey as an entrepreneur, and guess what? We have survived an entire year. The amount of things that I have learned, that I've witnessed, that I've experienced in the entire year that I've been an entrepreneur is insane. Where I was before day one versus where I'm at now, I almost feel like I've lived like an entire life, and it's only been a year. It's honestly hard to believe that it's already been a year. I've just been so focused and been through so much in the span of time. It's like, holy crap, like it's already been a year. About to be 24 in September. This is a big deal. I want this video to not just be about me. I want this video to be about you. This video is going to be talking about my life as an entrepreneur a year later, giving you the brutal, honest truth of my experience and what I think you can learn from this video. Please continue to watch it. I'm going to share my story first. I think it's going to be of value. If you do want to just skip to the steps, I'm not editing this, so no timestamp, but please watch the entire video all the way through. If you are seriously looking to start a business, to be an entrepreneur at any age, anytime, I highly suggest that you watch this video all the way through. I will respect your time as much as possible because I know that time is the most important thing. Okay? So let's talk about it. I wanted to start getting into real estate in September of 2023. So when I was in college, I was a self-improvement YouTuber my freshman and sophomore year, which was in 22 and 2023. I made self-improvement videos for young men. I wanted to use that and start that as my own business. I did coaching consultations, which I did get people to sign up for my coaching. It wasn't paid, but I also got a good amount of traction. And I decided later on, around April of 2023, that I didn't want to do self-improvement videos anymore. The manosphere is just really weird, really crazy. It wasn't my cup of tea. I wasn't liking it, and I wasn't happy with the progress I was making. I felt like I was moving too slow, that I should have already built success already, that this wasn't for me. So I quit. And I took 2 years, I took 2 months as a lifeguard over the summertime at the Brown County State Park pool with all my friends, stopped thinking about ambition, stopped thinking about starting businesses, dropped my YouTube channel, and I was like, you know what? God is just going to find that next opportunity for me. I'm just going to enjoy life. And it was truly the happiest I ever have been in my entire life. Junior year of college starts, and I read a book that completely changed my life. It is called Self-Made Lessons from a Self-Made Millionaire, a 20-something self-made millionaire by Stephen Aarnio, the creator of Hard Times Create Strong Men, which is a book that I loved, that I still really like, and that I've read before I read Self-Made. This is the book that got me into real estate. A 20-something self-made millionaire from joint venturing and wholesaling real estate deals. So I decided that I wanted to pursue education. When I turned 21, I started reading a ton of books. Think and Grow Rich, $100 Million Offers, Deep Work by Cal Newport, Good to Great by Jim Collins, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. Huge books. I even got some other ones right here. The 4-Hour Workweek, Atomic Habits, 7 Levels of Highly Effective People, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Tons of books right there that I just started to continue to read. And I literally committed almost 2 years of my life before I got my real estate license to learning about real estate and building success when you're young. I made a video in 2024 titled, I think I've cracked the code about building success in your 20s. And it covered everything that you need to know about building a sustainable life in your 20s that is ambitious, that is something that's worth being fulfilling, but it had the cold hard truth behind it. Fast forward all the way to 2025. I get my real estate license. I save up $10,000 as a leasing consultant, and I funded my real estate venture. Now, day one, brand new day, that is when I made the video. I was brand new, did not know anything about real estate, except for obviously the books and stuff that I've read. I was prepared knowing that it was going to be a marathon. So August of 2025 is my first month as a real estate agent, and I worked with a brokerage called Keller Williams Realty, which Keller Williams really prides itself in education. And I learned a lot. I attended all of their sessions, including the business meetings and Ignite. And I was so firm that I wanted to do open houses. Eventually, as I progressed my career, I started to know exactly what type of agent I was. But what I'm trying to get at here is that this is the start of my career of being in real estate, August of 2025. Every morning I'd wake up at 7 o'clock a.m. I would drive to the office and I would practice my open house scripts. I would practice for sale by owner scripts, especially. And I read them out loud every single morning in the Keller Williams booth. Everyone could hear me. It was really embarrassing, but I was really committed to knowing exactly what I needed to do. I met a lot of great people in that office. I had a really good relationship with one agent in particular who I talked to every single day, and I felt like he understood me. That I was so new, I didn't know what I was doing, and he helped me so much. His name is Tyler. Great guy. Really, really helped me a lot in my journey. So while I'm showing up every day to the Keller Williams office, I'm constantly learning new things every single day. And a part of me feels like, 6 months until I close my first transaction. 6 months until I find my first client. In real estate, they really pride heavy on when you're new, the first 6 months is when you see progress. Fast forward to September, to October, to November, and finally in November, I get my first actual lead. My first actual willing to work with buyer. And it took me 4 months to find him. That was also the same month that I've gotten my first listing from cold calling a for sale by owner. Now, I've built this reputation in this office because I'm a relatively young guy. I'm 23, about to be 24. And everyone else in the office was relatively seasoned, 30s, 40s, 50s, etc., right? So I drew attention in the office because I showed up every day, I talked to everybody, I worked in the office. And it caught the eye of a former team leader of mine, which I won't get into too much detail about him, but he noticed my hard work and we decided to become real estate partners on a team. And that he was a team leader and that I was almost feeling like I opened up a war chest of resources from this top producer in my office. And this is in December of 2025, so I am officially closing in on my 5th month in real estate. For the next 3 months of 2026, I cold called a lot of for sale by owners. I got one for sale by owner appointment. And I realized that I was in an environment that I did not really enjoy. And it led to us splitting up. Fast forward a couple months later, I get my first closing. It took me 10 months in real estate to get paid. And it was a Zillow lead from my former team leader. 10 months, of waiting to get paid. So I decided to move away from Keller Williams, and I still love everybody there. But I realized that I wanted to take my business somewhere else. So I decided to join a team with the brokerage named Real Broker. And that is where I'm at today. I have been through a lot of different things, highs and lows. I've felt that really nice rush of getting a closing and helping my clients move into a home that they enjoy. I've also dealt with getting my first listing on my own. I've also had that feeling of getting my first client, of having a social media video blow up. With all of that in mind, I've also went through a lot of hardship. Throughout this entire time, finances were to this day still, very stressful. I kept asking myself, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay bills? How am I even going to live? How am I going to get, food on the table for me? How am I going to actually survive doing this? And it is a scary reality that not many people talk about. And it is the sole driver of why people leave business. It's the lack of capital left. And so, getting onto that, I closed my first deal in my 10th month, and I decided that I wanted to take my business elsewhere, and so I joined a new team. And it's still the team that I am a part of to this day. I'm going to go over the run-through of everything that's happened to me that was really hard. My first ever open house I hosted, I got bit by the seller's dog. The dog ripped a hole in my tailored suit. I used to wear suits to open houses. I do not anymore. I got bit by a dog. My first ever open house in real estate, got bit. Secondly, I got in 2 listings from for sale by owners that I cold called. And they both ended up not selling because we were overpriced. And I was too inexperienced to communicate with my clients. And they got frustrated and decided they wanted to mutually release from the listing agreement. I've also gotten fired from a team leader, which I do not want to get into detail about, but it ended out in a way that I wish it would have ended out differently. It was hard, really hard. I had really hard, high expectations, and it felt like I wasn't good enough, or that I felt disappointed in myself. I've had a deal fall through because the inspection was not satisfactory. Just recently, I had a deal that fell through because the buyer couldn't afford the home, even though we were under contract, and that was hard. I lost about $3,000, give or take. And I've also recently have a closing that was supposed to be scheduled on this Wednesday. I believe this is going to be uploaded on August 9th or 10th. It's August 3rd right now, so it's a little bit in the past, but I was supposed to have a closing on Wednesday. Well, there was a lien on the title per the seller, so my buyer and I have to wait for closing. I forgot all the human aspects behind this, about the yelling, about the lower expectations, about the frustration, the anger, not just towards me, but towards the situation. I've had clients cry. I've seen things change fundamentally that make me question my life, my worth. And just recently, I had a pretty tough conversation with a team leader of mine now about a realization that I had about myself. On top of paying bills, working, and doing valet on the side just to make ends meet. What if I told you I went through all of that stuff? The stress, the crying, the anger, the frustration, the pain every single day, it felt like. What if I told you that although I went through all of that within this year, I still love what I do, I continue to work hard, and I believe it is the best decision I've ever made. Pretty crazy, right? So there's a few lessons that I want to share with you in my journey. And that's not really me touching on everything, but that's sort of my timeline of this past year. And I wrote down 3 lessons that are about 4 lessons that I think are absolutely vital if you're starting a business. And there's some things that I wish I would have known before I started. Number 1, and this is the most important thing. This is actually a lesson that I've realized last week when I had a really tough conversation with my team leader, Craig. When I had a tough conversation with him about my performance, this is the thing that came to my mind. And it is something that I am learning just now after getting into a year in this industry. You must pay the price of admission. You need to make a commitment. When I started real estate, I didn't realize how long it actually takes to build success. When we are succumbed to social media, we feel like, oh, well, you can be a success overnight and you can build success within 30 days and you can make a 6-figure income within a year. And there's some people, very, very few people that can burn that fast. But we often see these people more often because they're the exception, and that's why they're so popular. But we're so used to seeing things that are not the norm that we're now seeing that as the norm. I came in not understanding that. And with this of paying the price of admission, this is what I mean by this. If you are going to start a business, whether it be being in real estate, owning a gym, opening up a bakery, opening up a restaurant, opening up an accounting firm, a law firm, becoming a CPA, whatever you are going to do for your business, you need to understand what that price is. There is a book that I love called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and this is what it talks about. We love the idea of starting a business. Of course we do. We're the owners. We're our own boss. We get to make our own hours. We have unlimited income potential. We get all these nice things of starting a successful business. But they do not tell you the problems you need to solve when you start a business. Focus on the problems that you want to solve and the price you need to pay to even do this job. For business, this is what this price to me looked like. You are going to be in severe financial distress for an entire year. You are not going to know how you pay bills. Now, you can be prepared, and this is something I'm going to talk about here later on. You can be prepared. I did not. I thought I was prepared, but I was not. You are going to go through so much stress, emotional turmoil, deals fall through. You're going to lose thousands of dollars because a deal fell through, and you got to learn how to adapt. You got to learn to keep going. And guess what? This is the most important thing as well. You need to be okay with being busy literally all the time, canceling vacations, canceling dates, canceling times with friends, because you care much more about building success than you do the short-term pain. Because let's be honest, if you are wanting to start a business, you have big ideas, big dreams, big goals. That is great. But what are you going to pay to get there? You might have to pay not going to see family, not going to see friends, not going to do these important things, not going to vacations. But guess what? That is the price you need to pay to get to where you want to be. So what do you want to choose? Do you want to choose the short-term pleasure? Do you want to choose the comfortability of doing the things you want to do? Or is the big picture what drives you? The idea of the long term. If I just sacrifice, or if I focus my time on my business right now, instead of going to go see friends, of going out to eat, of doing these things right now, then I can do those things later if I focus on my business right now. It's easier to say this than to do it, because you're going to think that you're ready, but I'm telling you right now, you will think about it. About a wedding that you might need to attend. Of these important things. And you need to understand, what am I willing to sacrifice to make this dream happen? That is so fundamentally important. And there is a scale to this that I didn't even talk about. But you need to be willing to almost give it everything and I don't want to say risk it all, but you need to be willing to dedicate your entire life to this. Literally every day, you're thinking about how to optimize your business, how to plan your day, working, producing, not just planning, producing and taking action. Every single day, optimizing your entire day for production. Not necessarily spending 8 unnecessary hours making calls and not really, being focused. I'm talking 3 to 4 hours of deep work. Are you willing to pay the price for success? Number 2, you need to understand that business, because of the nature of it, there is a high degree of unsustainability. You're going to be unstable moments of highs. Oh my gosh, I just got a closing. I just got a deal under contract. I just got, a new lead. I just got someone investing in my stuff. To the lows. I'm getting sued. I'm losing money. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. I'm having people yell at me. I'm having people upset at me. I'm not feeling like I'm doing enough. There are tons of highs and lows. And you got to understand that. It is a up and down roller coaster in business. You're going to have bad months and you're going to have great months. Success is not linear. It's not. It is truthfully a marathon that has hills. It's almost like climbing Mount Everest. You will go through highs and lows. So you need to learn how to manage your emotions, learning how to conquer that feeling, understanding that there will be bad periods and there will be good ones as well. And you need to learn how you're going to manage that. And the way you're going to manage that is by staying disciplined and having consistent results at what you do. You set the routine every day. You know what you're doing every day. And you keep inputting that and keep putting in consistent production, right? So then you don't have that room for doubt on what comes next. There's also leaning on towards people you love and care about. Calling people you care about. Because let's be honest. People who don't start businesses, it's hard for them to understand what our lives are like. But that doesn't mean that they aren't a resource for you to reach out to them. If there's anybody that you can reach out to for emotional support, for calling, for reaching out to, we like to talk about the lonely chapter in this. And like you're going to feel inevitably lonely because not many people are entrepreneurs. But you got to understand that just because you're self-made doesn't mean that you're not going to be getting cooperation from other people, that you need other people's support. It is so important that you have a system of people who care about you and who are willing to talk to you during these hard times. And if you feel like you don't need those people or you don't have them in your life, you have me. I am volunteering to be that person for you because I understand that it's scary and that you don't know what comes next. And that is okay. That is the nature of it. And you're going to be going through a lot of great and bad things in this industry, and that's just the nature of it. Having an anchor in your life is so fundamental. And if you don't have that, I am willing to volunteer and talk to people in the comments section about it. Number 3, this is the soul of your business. Your big why matters so much. So what is a big why? We talked about, you want to pay the price of admission. You want to be able to sustain the highs and lows of this business. But what is that really fueled by? Why should you pay the price? Why should you be able to emotionally be sustainable in this industry? Like if the price of admission is so high, why even pay it? This is why your big why matters a lot. I want to ask you something. This is a genuine question. This isn't rhetorical. Why do you want to start a business? I am telling you right now, if it is solely because of money, if it is literally because I want to make a lot of money and do these things and make good income, okay, fair enough. Could you not just do that with a normal career? We always like to talk about, 9 to 5 sucks and you need to start a business. No, you do not. There are a lot of great professions out there that are W-2, that pay the bills, that have fulfillment, that get you the life that you want. You do not need to start a business. if you were looking to start a business, I really want to venture you to ask this question to yourself. Why do you need to start it? Because I'm telling you, the price of admission is extraordinarily high, and there are going to be times where you're asking yourself, why am I putting myself through all this stress, of all this unsustainable feelings that I have, of this madness and hysteria that's going on in my life? Why should I go through that? That is a legitimate question to ask, and it's because your why is so strong. It's because you have a reason to do it that is so strong, it gets you to wake up every day, and you have that fire in your belly that wakes you up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m. to get working every single day and have consistent results. For me, I got into real estate because I saw a career that has been everlasting for the entirety of the human civilization. Everybody is going to need a place to move, whether it be in Mars, whether it be in a solar system, or whether it just be here in our neighborhood. Everyone needs a place to live. We all need a place that's called home. And I saw that real estate is a proven way to build wealth. Now, I know what you're thinking. But isn't that driven by money? Not necessarily, and here's why. It does not stop with money, okay? My goal in my entire life is I love to influence, to inspire with my stories, and I love to write, and I love to teach people what I've learned. I see somebody that was in the same position as I was a year ago, who's inspired to be an entrepreneur, who wants to do great things, and I want to help them. I want to teach people how to build success, how to do these things, how to break generational poverty to build a life that is absolutely incredible, but also being an influence to other people's lives. I want to do that through writing. I want to be an author one day, and I want to write fictional stories or nonfiction. And I want to live this life and teach people what I've learned. And even if it's a fictional story, having like a lesson in that story that I think could heavily inspire people, to get people waking up every morning, to have someone say, this really inspired me, and, I want to keep going. And this isn't for me. This is about helping my community, helping people that were in the same position as me. This is not self-fulfillment on my end. Like it's literally just a responsibility. Because maybe you feel this way too. I feel obligated. I've had so many times in my life where I felt like I owed the world what I've learned, what I've been through. I grew up with a twin brother that I love. He has been a huge help in my life, and that's such a rare relationship. I grew up with parents that love me and care about me. I grew up going to college when I'm the first in my family to graduate with a bachelor's degree. Look, check this out. On my wall right there, that's my college degree. Nobody in my family else has a 4-year degree, and it's because I had the opportunity to get it. Wow, I've gotten so lucky in my life. How can I give back? I feel like that's what God is telling me every single day. Because let's be honest, ultimately, we are humbled by our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Okay, everything is done through God. It is to serve Him. But if you're not religious, I understand. Let's look at it in this perspective. When you are doing something that is bigger than you, it gives it so much more meaning. And look, I thought about it. Genuinely, there have been times in my real estate business where I've thought about just getting another job, of just working a comfortable career that pays my bills, that makes, that feeds my belly, that I'm able to eat food, and lives a respectable, good life. Now, albeit every job is respectable, except for ones that are illegal, like, I don't know, drug dealing, prostitution, all that stuff. No. But every job is respectable. But what I'm trying to say is that I could have done that and lived a pretty good life, genuinely. Like, I could have had everything I needed, got my bills paid, I can go out on vacations, spend time with people I love. I can do all those things with a normal job. So why start a business? It's because I feel like I have this stronger meaning that if I did take that job and that's my life, like, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. That No, because it never stopped with just making money. Something to think about. Lastly, I think this is literally, if you're going to listen to everything I say, all these are fundamentally important, but you will not get to where you need to be without this last one. Truthfully. If you do not have this last one I'm about to tell you right now, it's going to take you a much longer time, and you're going to go through so much worse things if you do not get this fourth one. You must, and I mean must, you must find a coach or a mentor who is where you want to be. That is so important. You cannot do this on your own, truthfully. Us as a human civilization, we have relied on each other for thousands of years, for millennia. When we say the word self-made, the phrase, it really does not really mean self-made. If you're truly self-made, you're not. It's a lie, because we need guidance. We need support, because the ventures of starting a business is so unknown and so rare that we do not know about, that we need to find people that have been in that same position as us, that is going to mentor us, to coach us, to train us to get to that point. Whether it be, sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry about that. My friend texted me. Sorry about that. The guidance that you need to start a business is so incredibly high, because there's so many things that you're not even going to think about, that you're going to be like, what do I even do? How do I even do this? And meeting somebody that has been in that same position as you is going to give you a better idea of what your day-to-day should look like, of where you want to be, and is going to be a resource for you if you have any questions. So for me, I have somebody like this in my office, and he helped me a lot with a very distressful situation today with a buyer of mine. The seller's title has a lien on it, and he was freaking out about payments and stuff, and I had to call my mentor about it, because I was like, hey, I don't know how to handle this. Can you help me with it? Literally a lifesaver. Seriously. You need to find a coach. How do you find them? I highly recommend, whatever industry you're getting a part of, look for it. Communities, threads, Reddit, Discord, whatever it might be, whether it be other communities, other YouTuber communities. If you're a part of a CPA firm, you might want to look at some other accounting firms, let's say you're starting up your own independent CPA thing. You might even want to reach out to people that maybe you worked with at Deloitte, PwC, et cetera. Working with people that are in the same career as you, who are much more experienced, is literally vital. It's like literally breathing oxygen. You need it. So, just to recap, I want to be sure that this all makes sense to you at the end of the day, because that was a lot. Rule number 1 is you need to commit. You need to understand what the price of admission actually is to enter your industry, and if you're willing to actually do it. And if you're not, that's fine. Genuinely, that is okay, because now you know what you truly value in life, and you might value having a nice life with friends and family that you love, and you might even find a career where you make a lot of money, right? So you need to understand what the price of admission is. And if you decide that this is the journey for you, great. But you need to understand that these other things matter. Conquering the highs and lows is so important. You're going to go through so much emotional turmoil and so many emotional highs. You need to learn how to manage that and learn how to remain consistent in your production. That is so important. Your big why matters a lot. Literally, why are you doing this? Why is this so important for you? Why do you want to start a business? Lastly, you need to find someone that's going to lead you the way. You truly cannot figure this stuff out on your own. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have people teaching us anything. It's just like if you got a new job, right? You got a guy that's teaching you how to do the job. It's literally the exact same thing in business. You cannot force to do this stuff on your own. And that is it. I've survived a year in business. I'm continuing to. I'm going to go through, I know, so many hard, brutal things in my career. I'm going to go through financial hardship, continue to. And I'm going to go through a lot of great things as well. And that's okay. Because this is truly what I want to be doing. And the last thing I want to mention, if you stayed this long into the video, great, because this is actually something that is so important that I think is literally going to save you if you're starting a business. I thought originally that I was putting in enough work to build success in this industry, and I literally found out last week that I was not. There's levels to your production that you don't even know if you can unlock yet. And for me, I felt like I did everything I could, and really the reality is that I limited myself because I had things that I prioritized over, like, I have this going on, I have that going on. Not anymore. My business is literally my number one priority, and I am maximizing my entire day, every single day, with consistent results. It's so important. This journey has been really crazy. I really do not recommend this if you are somebody that has discipline issues. If you have discipline issues, please stay at your job until you can learn how to do work on your own. And I really think that this is a great thing to do. If you feel like starting a business is what you want to do with your life, I think it is a great opportunity. You should go for it. And that people have your back. And if you want to talk to me personally, feel free to. I'm happy to assist anybody if you have any questions. Let's celebrate 1 year of starting a business. 1 year, many more to come. And guess what? Life goes on. You'll go through hardships. You'll go through great things. But you continue to work hard and you continue to push it forward. With that being said, have a wonderful night. Sleep well. And work your ass off tomorrow. Get that day started. Reach out to people if you have questions. And get shit done. Have a great night, guys. I'll see you on the next entrepreneurial journey video.